Have you ever sat down to meditate or, just get some deep work done, only to feel this incredibly heavy, almost isolating cloud roll right into your mind? Yeah, we've all been there. It's that universal struggle of mental fog. Your thoughts literally slow to a crawl and your body suddenly feels like it's made of lead. It's so easy to feel like it's a personal failure, right? But what if I told you it's actually the exact opposite? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a fascinating Zen practitioner's guide to taking that exact heaviness and transforming it into radiant wakefulness. We're going to look directly into this internal mist, dissect it, and completely change it from an overwhelming obstacle into, well, your absolute most powerful teacher.
Okay, let's map out our tactical roadmap out of this fog. We've got a concrete plan here. First, we'll cover the heavy internal mist. Then, becoming a clinical observer. Third, tactics for physical mastery. Fourth, the strategic middle way. And finally, we'll wrap up with the path to wakefulness. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The heavy internal mist. Understanding the fog.
So on your journey, it is absolutely crucial to realize that these mental barriers, they aren't your personal failures. Even if your brain decides to treat deep focus as an open invitation for an impromptu nap, to actually defeat this enemy, we first have to give it a formal name. In the source material, this is identified as Thina Mira. Thina represents the drowsiness. Think of it as a literal dark sinking of your mind. And Mira, that's the lethargy, that heavy, sleepy state that takes over your physical body. When you combine them, they create this dense fog called moha, or ignorance. But here's the secret to all of this. These are entirely natural, impersonal operations. Because they are just conditioned phenomena, they are inherently temporary.
So the crucial point here is understanding the profound danger of personalization. Just consider the victim mindset for a second. When you claim this heaviness as my sleepiness, you fall straight into Sakaya Ditti, which is personality belief. And here's the wild part. This ego identification actually fuels the exact delusion you're trying to escape. The fog just gets thicker because you're claiming it as your own. Now contrast that with the observer. By viewing these states as temporary, impersonal processes, you instantly drop that massive weight of the self. You stop being a victim to the fog, and you actually start making the hindrance itself your primary object of focus.
Section 2. Becoming a clinical observer. The alchemy of mindful observation.
And this brilliantly illustrates how ancient Zen tradition uses what they call skillful means. The idea here is that you don't run away from the hindrance. Instead, you transform it into a kamathana. That translates to a place of work. You are literally taking the very thing that's trying to shut your mind down and making it the raw material for your awareness. This deliberate distancing pulls you right out of the gloom and puts you firmly back in the driver's seat.
Okay, so how do you actually do that in practice? It's a beautifully simple 3-step noting technique. Step 1. Just notice the fog rolling in. Seriously, don't fight it. Just notice it's there. Step 2. Name it. Say to yourself, drowsiness is arising. Now this step is incredibly powerful. By simply naming it, you activate a clear awareness that stands totally apart from the stupor. You're taking this invisible heavy weight and turning it into a tangible phenomenon. And finally, step 3, observe it objectively. Now that it's tangible, you can put it under the microscope of your attention and really investigate it.
And the incredible thing to see here is how this builds, because the impact of this clear awareness on that dark sinking is practically instantaneous. Why? Well, it's because the light of observation is fundamentally incompatible with the darkness of ignorance. The exact moment you decide to observe the fog rather than falling victim to it, the mist immediately begins to lift. But as you probably know, internal shifts alone aren't always enough to get the job done, which is exactly why we need to talk about preparing the physical body.
Section 3. Tactics for physical mastery. Controlling your environment.
Now, what's really interesting about these tactical adjustments is that there is a direct mirror relationship between your physical surroundings and your mind. Basically, a stagnant external room just reinforces a stagnant internal state. So let's optimize it like a modern cheat sheet. First, utilizing the clarity of dawn for your sessions completely galvanizes your mindful awareness. Next, ensuring you have ample light and good ventilation stimulates the eye faculty, which stops your mind from retreating inward. Maintaining an upright seated posture, that directly counteracts laziness. If sitting just isn't working for you, switch to walking meditation to disrupt the stagnation of your mind. And finally, refresh your physical elements. Take some deep breaths, splash cold water on your face, or have a light tea. Your environment is literally the container for the flame of your awareness, so you have to make sure it actually supports it.
Section 4. The strategic middle way. Energy management.
Of course, all this physical mastery absolutely must be balanced by internal wisdom. We're talking about the middle way, which is a precise calibration of your effort, not some aggressive, all-out battle. To properly manage your energy, you have to be able to distinguish between two very different states. When you identify kasaja, which is just simple laziness, that has to be met with increased internal fire. You just push through it. However, if you try to fight genuine exhaustion with aggressive effort, you are only going to create agitation. Genuine exhaustion requires a totally different maneuver, purposeful rest. You have to treat rest as a highly skillful tool, used specifically to regenerate your diligence. That guarantees you'll return to your practice refreshed and ready.
Central to this middle way is cultivating what's known as right view. This is your absolute key to preventing aversion and anger. And here is a huge warning for you. Getting frustrated at your own sleepiness literally layers a second delusion right on top of the first one. You just end up nurturing confusion and fueling your ego even more. Actually, scratch that. It's more like you're actively fighting yourself. Instead, the right view reframes this heavy state as a direct opportunity for self-understanding. Patience is vital here. It allows you to navigate these tricky mental states with complete equanimity.
Section 5. The Path to Wakefulness. Perseverance.
The glue that holds this whole shebang together is virya. That translates to perseverance. It's that courageous, steady willingness to remain present no matter how thick the mist appears to be. Mastering this is a fundamental step toward true focus. When you combine your environmental mastery with mindful observation and top it off with the wisdom of the middle way, you completely stop being a victim. You literally transform your hindrances into your greatest teachers, and that leads steadily toward the ultimate goal of unwavering wakefulness.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. The internal mist? It's inevitable. It's definitely going to roll in again. But you know what? You now have the blueprint. So the next time that heavy fog descends upon your mind, are you going to let yourself wander blindly through it? Or will you use it as the very tool to wake yourself up?